Hey, we are here. We are here.
Yes, we
Welcome
are.
to Taking the Journey Together.
And I am Sharon or Zare,
And I am Amar.
and we are happy to be with you again. And still talking about maintaining a balanced or healthy relationship.
Yes, yes. We happen to have just a little bit of a look because we're someplace in the world right now doing our show. Can't tell you where we're at, but we are someplace in the world. The background's a little bit different. Going to try to still keep it nice and sensual and sexy and all those things that a relationship need to still have
You
at the
can
same
say
time.
we're maintaining our healthy relationship.
I like that. That's a good way to say it because that's
Yes.
what you have to do these days. Oh man, it's such a what is it? Someone I had that written down someplace. Let me see if I can. Now, why don't you tell a little bit about what we're about for those who are first comers,
Okay.
and then I'm going to go ahead and pull up something that I saw today about dealing with what's going on in going on with relationships, especially right here in America. Go ahead.
Okay. So our belief statement goes something like this. And
Goes a little bit something like this.
yes. And for those of you who um, have been with us many times before, you have seen me read it. And this time I'm kind of winging it because
She forgot the paperwork, but that's
I
right.
forgot the paperwork, but that's okay.
You look about now, you should be knowing this by heart.
I do. And I used to just kind of say it the way I said it. And so then I decided to start going by the script. And so today I'm off script again.
Yep.
So
you mean you use the script as being almost like a crutch?
Yes, I use the script so that I don't wander around, and I have a tendency to wander. Okay.
Yeah.
So here is our belief statement. We are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says. It doesn't matter what your father says, your children, or even what Jesus says. We are going to relate. But at taking the journey together, we believe in relating in a balanced manner. And what we mean by balanced is that we begin with friendship and we build that friendship into a lovership. And we go into a relationship as friends and lovers on both sides.
And it don't mean that you go in that relationship at the beginning as friends, though we are always talking about that you should begin that relationship if you get into it in the long term, especially if it's a marriage relationship. You should get into as a friend. Like only a friend would make sure that the collar on the shirt don't show is down because I didn't dress myself that well. How's that?
Well, it was kind of hurriedly.
Okay, it was hurriedly. Okay,
yes,
good.
That's okay. Yeah. But we look out for each other that way.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Now, you know that you're a friend or that you're with a friend if you are with somebody who reaches across the dinner table in public and takes a napkin and wipes her mouth. Whether it's he wiping her mouth or her wiping his mouth, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Wow, you did wipe my mouth one time, didn't you?
I did.
But it's better than you slapping me in my mouth. But yeah.
But at least I didn't spit on it first. And then
my mom used to do that all the time.
I know. See, that's taking friendship to another level.
Yeah, exactly. Now make sure you go and share with your friends, share with your enemy, share with your new lover, share with your new boyfriend, girlfriend, or wife or husband.
Or children.
Exactly. They're taking the journey on. Is on right now. We're ready to give you some good information on how to do that maintenance in your relationship, right?
Especially if you have children who are entering into serious long-term relationships or serious relationships that could be long-term. So, make sure you equip them with something more than horror stories from everybody's relationship that you know. Give them something to work with to build their own memories.
Exactly. Your own memories.
Yes. And today we're continuing to talk about maintenance, relationship maintenance. And we have talked about the M, the A, the I, the N.
The G, the X, the Y, the Z, and also the everything in between, right?
Not quite.
Not quite. Okay.
No, because we're going to start with the E today.
What E are we caulking with? The E.
We are starting with the E of intimacy.
Intimacy?
Hmm.
Is there intimacy in the E?
Empathy. I'm sorry, empathy and intimacy.
Mm.
Empathy and intimacy.
Get it right,
Yes.
miss. So you just
I got
can't
stuck.
seem to get
I
right.
got stuck on the intimacy
Mhm,
part.
mhm.
Yes, yes, but
Yes.
it's empathy and intimacy.
Empathy and empathy. See, BBD. Okay. Well, let's start doing it. How are we going to do this? How are we going to make it happen?
Well, we are going to make it happen by starting off with things that really work for us,
Mm-hmm.
like notes.
Okay. Do you
So-
know where your notes for here? I thought you knew everything off the top of your head.
I know everything off the top of your head, dear.
Really? I'm trying to work on this thing at the same time.
Yes.
Doing the engineer and at the same time, well, I'm doing maintenance right now
Yes.
on this, trying to get our music that we've got doing in the background that keeps that good mood and flavor going on. But
maybe
it wasn't
today
on
we
this
just-
computer since we're at another studio.
Maybe today we just go with what we have and
No, it's over here. I mean, you got to look at the screen, then you can go from there. But I'm going to, as for the music, I'm going to find that and I'm going to get it. So, yeah, that's going to
he
happen.
is relentless.
Yes, relentless.
And that too is a good quality. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes you need relentless people in your life.
Follow through and follow up is very
Mhm.
important. I told my son years ago when he was younger, he was kind of, saying to me, I don't think I'm just as smart and as intelligent as other particular people are. And I said, well, you know what? You may not have to be, but if you use follow through and follow up, you'll be surprised how further you can go and how much things you can get done with what I call persistence.
Yes, that is
Mhm.
absolutely true. You know, I was, when I was in school, based on what he was saying,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in school, I was not the brightest crayon in the box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it took me a minute, and I had to work for every A, B, or C that I got. And I
Really?
mean, I worked hard for them. I actually earned them. Nobody gave me anything. Well, okay, one person gave me something,
Mm-hmm.
but that was the exception to the rule. But that perseverance did pay off. There were some areas that I went through that I didn't have any issue with,
Mhm.
like English, and some science and math.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to work for it.
Mm.
I didn't just walk into a classroom and say, "Oh, okay, I have my A, and my A will last." No,
Uh-huh.
no. So you were right in the advice you gave him.
Your A will last. Your
Yeah.
A game is to say will last, but
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So, as let me recap a little bit about
Mhm.
some of the other letters of the acronym that we have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
M is mutual respect.
Mm-hmm.
A is active listening.
Mm-hmm.
I is intimacy and affectionate. Intimacy and affection.
Mm-hmm.
N is nurturing growth. T is trust and transparency. And today I was happy. That was the other half. Right? E is
What's going on in the background now? How's that? What all depends on who is listening.
Yes, it's
It's overpowering you,
it is.
making you listen.
It is.
So get in the mood and allow it to flow.
Yeah.
A song with in the background. It's all about. Okay. We'll keep on going. So then, and maybe you'll listen to it. It's all about together.
Absolutely, but I'm listening to you.
You have a hard time.
I do.
Which is a shame. Because in a marriage, part of maintaining is you have to many times doing some multitasking.
Yes.
You may have to be, be a good listener, be a good lover, be a good at the same time counselor. Maybe you have to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You may have to do it at the same time. The same way many of us are work we do every day. Some of us have some sophisticated jobs that we have large projects. We have large moving parts that we're moving every day, and our confidence of being able to do this okay, it's all right. But a lot of times our motivation is pay. When we move into a relationship, it should be our payment. In this case, our relationship itself is our payment. That's where we should invest in presenting who we are, what we are. And with that, we move into the area of true fulfillment. Fulfillment is all about all of your energies of who you are and expanding it all of the ways, areas that they can, and whatever you want to do. Relationship, balance relationship, a healthy relationship with someone that you love, loves you.
Yeah.
The song's called, if you hear the little bit of the lyrics in the background, it's called Just For You.
I know. Okay, I couldn't remember that earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So as we talk about today, which is empathy and understanding, that's
Someone said right here, I love this background.
yes, that's good. We look forward to that, to hearing comments. Thank you. Yes. So empathy and understanding, showing empathy and understanding for each other's perspectives, emotions, and experiences. And that's always important, especially when you don't quite agree with their
Mhm.
perspective. It's all, you don't necessarily have to agree with it, but it's always good to understand where it's coming from and accept where it's coming from.
Did you accept it? Where it was coming from?
I did.
You should have.
I was
I kind of felt a little bit of resistance.
no resistance.
Their resistance, didn't rub me too hard.
There was no
Sweat over it, but you felt a little bit of resistance.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry that you felt that resistance.
Mm.
I did not feel the resistance that I was struggling with. And I think it's important for you to understand that. And you know that I am distractible. I'm easily distractible.
Sadly.
And so,
That is
so-
sad.
so
That's part of that maintenance. Part of that maintenance relationship is trying to start governing yourself, whether through boundaries, whether through focus, whether understanding that you may have to, how can I say, deal with those energy blocks so that you can start focusing on that which you are, how can I say it, purposely made actions, movements, and words to say that you are in agreement with. And when you become out of focus with those things that you spoke of, or you said, then those other things I talked about will become distractions.
yes,
And that means you got to find a way to get it.
absolutely.
Easily, how can I say, a person anytime is easily distracted, it's hard for them to stay committed, hard for them to stay loyal, and it's hard for them to stay in that track, that thing of purpose, because they're all over the place. Most of the time it's because they're outside. That's what determines who they are, instead of understand who they are from the inside. They connect with all things.
Yes. And I understand that, and I can agree with that, and that sometimes is the ideal that we need to strive for,
Mm-hmm.
that we understand or realize we're not one there. And so yes, there was no resistance
Resistance.
to what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And you also talked about hit on the
Mhm.
emotional part of that, and sometimes it is emotional when
Mm-hmm.
there is that difficulty in keeping up with what is going on
Mm-hmm.
when a train goes by and you go, oh look, there's a train.
I mean, what happens when you get easily distracted many times in relationships is obviously affairs can happen very easily because you're distracted, and someone in turn captures your attention easily. And then at the same time, sometimes can happen in a relationship. Your children, your family can capture your attention easily, and you lose your attention, your focus on your relationship. I think one of the most important things that we have to take a look at is a healthy relationship. When you refer to sometimes it's something that's ideal. It's not just ideal. It is to be the ideal thing are things that we are looking for to do, moving forward to do, and knowing that we can be able to do that. And there are positive things that are connected from the standpoint of what we want to do and know that we can do.
Yeah.
I
agree
think
with
the
that
mid,
100%.
I think the mid-ground point that sometimes we miss out is, I know there's a function. Oh, I see what it is. We get rid of this songs, let's do notifications, clear these notifications, them out in the quiet. There we go. I think the mid-ground point has to do with one of the things you have on the end to start with, mutual respect. Mutual respect doesn't mean that you're always going to be focused. You could be distracted. Humanness is all about sometimes being distracted.
Yes.
But if you keep yourself focused in your relationship on respecting each other's boundaries, opinions, individuality, and sense of a balanced relationship, then respect and be that glue in the middle when you are not always focused.
Right.
Don't you get upset sometimes? When we go out and eat sometimes, and you're gonna tell me something. But anyway, we go out and eat
I do it all
like
the time,
today,
so why not?
and you were trying to talk to me about how you're concerned about energy blockage, that you were getting into this, you were talking about it more, and you wanted to be able to talk about it on the show. And what was I doing at that time?
Playing on your phone.
Well, I wasn't playing.
Yeah, I
on
know
my
you
phone.
weren't playing.
I was on my phone looking at something that
Giving
was
more
intent-
attention to that than to what I felt was a very serious and important situation.
I have to admit, I'm sorry. I bowed down to that. I was paying attention to my phone. And while I was on my phone, you were talking to me, all I could hear was
Yes. It didn't last
Didn't-
long because I quit.
I know. I said, yeah, you did. But did you see that? What happens when that focus and that lack of respect is presented in that relationship? It doesn't stay healthy. Somebody disconnects.
Yep.
It doesn't become an us thing. It becomes more of a me thing
Mm-hmm.
and not a us thing. And I'm
Yes.
sorry that I did that, but sometimes that's what we do. My lack from there was at least giving enough respect to say, "Oh, hold on, don't know if this is that serious. I want to listen to right now. Can we do this at another time? Because I'm trying to pick up my phone." That would have been a bridge statement, okay? And that would be a respectful bridge statement. Another one could have been, I could have just said, "Okay, let me put my phone. Let me talk to you." Or on the other respectful side, you could have said to me, "Hey, this is important. Can you do it for them? I need to have you listen to me." So, those things can happen.
Yeah, and there were several other things because I could have said, you say, let's say I don't talk a lot. I don't talk enough. This is one of those times when I really want to talk. I don't want you to talk. I just want you to listen.
Yeah.
And that's where that was.
Mm-hmm.
But that is, at this point, we're getting some understanding about that, about where we were.
Mm-hmm.
And, and empathy. So what is it?
What? You tell me, what is empathy?
I asked you the question.
Nope. You put it up, you tell with empathy. Mm-hmm.
Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's position so that you can better understand what they're going through. And that's kind of my paraphrase of
It is. It's a good
and
one.
so, and that's where
Empathy. Since you did put me on the spot, and I don't mind, and you answered it too. Empathy also is not compassion. You didn't say that. Empathy is not necessarily compassion. Most people operate empathy, usually almost all the time, as compassion as one of its foundations, right? But compassion doesn't necessarily mean that. No.
yeah, come on, you got to talk about it.
Exactly. Compassion many times is something to do with understanding what someone else went through because they say so. And it's a common concern. Like, for instance, there are people who have compassion for those or for homeless. A lot of people have compassion for them, but they don't necessarily have empathy because I'm not talking to anybody on the screen watching, but they'll drive past someone who is homeless. They'll walk right past them who is
Latch on
homeless.
to all of the negative stereotypes. Oh, they walked away. Here's a story I heard. Somebody walked away from, getting money on the street and got into a BMW. Yeah, since when? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but if that's what you're using as your excuse not to help someone who is genuinely in need, then
I wasn't going that
that's
far,
kind
but what you
not
put that up
compassion.
is good, but I wasn't going that far. I'm just saying that we see some people in that position. We may move right past ask them, or we may give them something.
Mhm.
We might hand them something. Some young boys came to us yesterday in Ollie's, and they walked up to me and said, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir."
Yeah.
Young African American young men, and they asked me for $2.
Actually, what it said, which was different. Do you have anything I can do to hand it up?
Yeah, exactly. Really was something. Really,
Yeah.
and I really didn't have the $2, but I said to him,
And we were not in a place where we could give them a job or to do it.
"Well, we were." I went ahead and showed them some compassion by letting them know that number one, you're right in the place. But number two, which could be number one, is that I saw that they could do some work on their own, so that they could make more than just $2. Wanted to teach them to be able to fish so they could fish for a lifetime. So $2 is not going to do them. Those two guys that are like $2,
No.
let alone even in knowledge. So I talked about, why don't you think about doing something that you could last and could work for a long time in this environment? So what do you think about doing some lawn work? Well, yeah, I can cut a grass. And I said, you need to think about trying to use lawnmower. Maybe go to a Goodwill. Maybe go to a family where, find your used lawnmower and start cutting some grass. The two looked at me, their eyes got big, and then they looked at each other like, exactly. We, as a young man of my own, that was one of my first jobs that I did, was lawnmower. I would tell you this, being down south, that we've been down here, some of the most amount of small businesses that I see most of the time are landscaping or mowing.
Yeah.
So that's a real possibility that you can easily start on your own with not too much funds and go from there. So that was something I felt good about. We had compassion for them. Now, the other difference in that compassion was the area of empathy. Empathy is when you actually have experience how the person is going through. I'll say it again. Empathy is actually having the actual experience somebody has went through. So when you think about it, empathy is at a level where you are able to put yourself in that other person's shoes. As they said, the Native Americans say, you can put yourself in the other person's moccasins. So if you are able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, meaning you've been there, you remember how it felt, you remember the pain, you remember the words that kind of blocked your energy, you remember what someone looked at, you remember how bad it was. That's when you operate in empathy. That's when you operate in empathy. And I think that's a very important thing that relationships that are part of the balanced relationship is, we try to move to the point where we both are empathetic with one another. We're able to feel each other's pain because we've been there and done that before. Sometimes in your experience in a relationship, you will go through some hard times both together, where you both had stories where you've been there and done that. And hopefully they will carry you over to the next, how can I say it, adventure in your relationship, and you learn something from that.
Yes. So that's one of those really important things. And I like the way that empathy and understanding is put together, or held together, because there's not a ladder in maintenance that would take understanding, but it pairs so well with empathy that because in order to have empathy, you have to have some sense of understanding, some semblance of understanding on some level. I have a sense of understanding. I have a sense of understanding what you're going through, and that's going to help me to understand where you are and feel what you feel. And so, I know somebody that I was really close to that experienced this before, and I don't want you to have to go through what they did. Something that you can relate to that helps you to understand where they are in order to have that benefit. So those two are good.
Exactly. I think in fact, I believe in a balanced relationship, because we're all connected anyway, especially if you understand those people who have those glorious stories of what they call death experiences or near death
Near death.
experiences, they always talk about how when they pass on to the other side, the astral or wherever you may want to believe after you pass away, that they are then connected and understand right away in their consciousness that we all are connected and that we all are loved. And that most of all of our problems are something that we have created in our mind. And that creation in the mind of those problems have moved us to do those most hideous, most uncomfortableness, the most what I would call how would I say it, the most mean spirited thing that has happened in our own time and space, which is really, really too bad. I wanted to read about this, or not read about it, I wanted to say something about this too, which is it says the US today seems to be moving into more of a mean spirited environment. It seems that there are concerns that we're moving towards a a more mean-spirited environment. And several factors may contribute to this participation. One of them is political polarization. Increasing division between parties, ideologies have led heightened hostility and less willingness to find common ground. The social media platform that amplifies extreme views and facilitates anonymous interactions has contributed to more aggressive and unkind behavior. Those trolls ain't stopping whatsoever in what they do. Those keyboard warriors are just stomping and killing economical inequality, growing disparities in wealth and opportunities can lead to frustration and has led to frustration and resentment, fostering more adversarial society, where you have more of the rich and more of the poor, and hardly no middle class. There's cultural shifts, changing in cultural norms and values, right? Cultural values have contributed to less emphasis on mind kindness and more on self-interest and compassion. You've got the kind of, how can I say it, culture shift that says it's all about me, all about my particular tribe. And I don't really care about anyone else. You got to get yours on your own. And that's when we got stress and uncertainty in our economy. Health and environmental uncertainties can increase and have increased our stress levels, leading to people to act out in more aggressive ways. These factors, among others, have created a reality that society is becoming less kind and more passive. What do you think about that?
I think it's true, and it's a trickle down thing, because I've noticed that you know, older people are more, they have less patience with one another. The people in relationships, in marriage or dating relationships, they're more hostile to one another. Young people in their society, they are mean-spirited to one another. Laugh about it and act like it's normal. They will call each other a derogatory name, and everybody will think it's a joke. And they won't have the empathy or the sensibility to look at the person and see how they're feeling. It's like, everybody can find something to bring somebody else down, and it's okay.
Exactly. You've got many podcasts I'm watching all the time about relationships, or just about musicians or entertainers, rap entertainers,
or just regular people.
Or just regular people now, especially can be superstars. And people are just mean-spirited and clowning each other, talking about each other. Really, again, moving more and more to a place that it seems like everybody in turn doesn't really care what we talked about the first time, that much empathy. And that's really too bad, because we all are connected. Me too is an African saying, I am who I am because of who you are. And in our relationships, especially in a balanced relationship, you have the opportunity to experience your relationship with someone else, where both of you have the right to feel each other, to have that empathy for one another, because you're creating your own experiences together while you're together. And with that, you hopefully you're going to create a opposite from mean spiritedness to more of a loving what? Spirit and experience. Well, we're going to go right to a commercial.
And then we're going to address the next part of really healthy relationships.
Exactly. Here we go.
Have you ever experienced a Juneteenth event? Come out to Port Wentworth and celebrate our second annual Juneteenth Festival. Friday, June 21st from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. Come enjoy our music, our food, our heritage, our culture, and our history. It will be plenty of fun for everyone. Juneteenth is American history. It's a day that we celebrate and remember. It's a day that we look back, but more importantly, a day that we look forward. Join us this June.
Hey, we are back again. We are back again. Okay, Sharon, you wanted to say something as we come back from our commercials. You wanted to say something, didn't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to make it a point that, the things that we were talking about a few minutes ago or before the commercial that had to do with the negativity and the mean-spiritedness
Mhm.
that we are finding in society. We've got to make sure that it does not trickle full speed into our relationships,
Mhm.
because our relationships are the last stronghold for combating, for lack of a better word,
Mhm.
or working against that negativity. If we have that compassion, that empathy, that understanding in our relationships
Mhm.
and our children, our friends, our
Mhm.
family, the people who we come in contact on, just on a random basis, see that camaraderie, see that those things within us.
Mhm.
There's a possibility that that's how the trend starts to change.
In other words, we try to become an example of that which should be. And with that perception, then we create that which we want this world to be. So let's stop being that person. Let's stop taking together
Taking
together relationship and make sure. I wanted to say, let's start taking that unity relationship. Unity is another name, another organization we do, but anyway, it's still going to be simple.
Yeah.
So let's go back to where we were at. Where were we? We were talking about maintenance, keeping up maintenance going on, right?
That's right. We were.
Mhm.
And so taking this, that was a great segue into what we are, what the N in maintenance, the second N in
Mhm.
maintenance stands for, and that is navigating conflicts constructively.
Mm-hmm.
Navigating conflicts constructively.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to do with addressing conflicts and disagreements in a respectful and constructive manner.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing on finding solutions rather than assigning blame. You didn't do something that I wanted you to do, or you did something that I didn't appreciate, or you did something in a way
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of coming at you with, you didn't do this and you always do this and this is a pattern that you have and I can count it and blah 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 and all that.
Blah 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 blah.
All
I
that.
like that blah 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 blah.
all that negativity that sometimes is filtered through from the outside. It's not even aimed at the person that you're aiming at that particular moment. But instead of doing that, you say, I didn't appreciate what you did. It hurt me. It upset me. Or whatever. And these are the reasons why. It's just something that I need you to take into consideration. And I'm not saying, there will be no argument in a relationship. But step back from that argument. Let off the steam for about 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds.
Yes, just 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
What was that old thing they used to say about when you were angry? They used to say, take a breath.
Yes.
Count to 10. You remember that? I used to hear that all the time. It never worked, baby.
It used to work for me, and it still does.
If you are still within the presence of that person who's caused you that sadness, or like a book that's been written on the hate that you give, if you're still within that presence, it's hard that even when you count to 10, that person might think that you're disrespecting them or making fun of them, and they might get even that much more anger. So it's hard for you to count to the 10. I think probably sometimes you may walk away. Maybe run away if you have to do that. Yeah.
Take a break, step away, walk away, and that's but you have to maintain those boundaries and say, you know what, I'm not going to take this into a loud screaming match. If you want to scream, you can scream and yell by yourself. If you want to throw things by yourself. But I'm not going to stick around and walk away. And or say, we need some time apart.
Yes.
We need to work this out individually before we come back to get together and work it out together. So I'm going to step away. I'm going to go get the car and pick her up. Or I'm going to go to
She
the
may
mall.
come back now. He may come back. Just make sure it's not a couple of days, otherwise it's exempt. Tell her bye-bye. Tell her
No.
warranty.
It's not that kind of thing to step away, because hopefully the relationship is going through some of the guidelines that we have been given. Have been given.
If it gets to that level, where you have to walk away to the point where you drive away, then your relationship is not in balance.
No, not
It
at all.
is now in survival.
But in that moment, when you get to the point that your argument is about to be a screaming match, or somebody's getting ready to start throwing things. I had a friend who used to just pick up whatever and throw it, and I'm like, why? You're breaking things you paid for.
Because they're not that important at that time.
Yeah, and but the point is, when you get to that point, you are, even if your relationship has been going well, you are just surviving at that particular moment because you're not thinking straight.
And also too, you have not been doing maintenance.
Yes.
Maintenance is all about trying to, you use the analogy of cars, is all about trying to get it. Keep that car running, not to the point where you have no oil on the dipstick, and
No gas in the tank.
no gas in the tank, and your engine is smoking and about ready to blow up. That's the same kind of analogy that you're just speaking of. You have not been lubricating, using that. You're listening and see, trust, all that stuff we're talking about. Part of that oil, that brake fluid, the water, you have it in turn, kept it clean. All these things we're talking about maintenance, you have not actually applied or made sure that you consistently use them in your relationship. So if you are going to move to that point, you are going to have that overheating. You are going to have that engine about ready to blow up, and timing chain just went off, and you're no more in time with one another. Right? Because you really did need maintenance. Maintenance is not about saying that you never have problems in the relationship. Maintenance is all about keeping it, getting to the point where you can survive all the time.
And that's
Where it's going to blow up. You can get so mad you're going to want to hurt someone. Or you hurt someone, and then domestic violence comes in. Like you just were talking. You got to get up and walk away, and you kind of feel like, I'm never going to get back. I never come back again. These are the things that we don't want you to move to, because it becomes no more than what we were talking about before, where it seems right now, especially in this world, in this country, people are many times walking very mean-spirited, starting right in the relationship, and they have no care, no concern, they care nothing about unity or anything whatsoever when it comes to the relationship. And how can I say it? Domestic violence, from here talking to some counselors and those who are friends of ours in a relationship, they said ever since, especially the COVID, there is such a high level of divorce and domestic violence now. They don't show it much, they won't present it much in the news, but those who are in that arena know it's there. We're about trying to say we don't have to go that way. No, we don't need to. Let's build it different.
It's time to maintain, time to, figure out how to do it. You've got to find, you got to learn what each other's triggers are.
Come on, learn triggers. Not just bring something up so people learn a little bit more about where we're at, where they can get hold of us.
We usually right now.
Yeah, well, we were talking about something so important.
Yeah. Okay. So, you can find us at on our website at takingthejourney-together.com. Or you can email us at ttjt@takingthejourney-together.com. On Facebook, we are TTJ Together. On Instagram, we are Taking the J Together. Or you can call us at 912-421-8862. All right?
What's another place?
Well, another place that you can find us is on WRUU at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday morning. That is WRUU. 107.5 every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 Eastern Standard Time.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so we are back to where we needed to be. Okay, we got a little bit more. Let's keep going because we have so much good. I think it's so important in a world that's moving so, how can I say, mean-spirited. How much more do we have to have and maintain our relationship and use techniques of how we maintain relationships so they stay balanced? Where we're at? Where's the last place that we started at?
Let's start. Navigating conflicts.
Okay. And that was the INT.
That was the second thing.
So the end out here, navigating conflict.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what we're talking about.
Balance
taking
statements.
a break.
Balance statements.
Exactly, balance statements.
Balance statements very
Yes.
important to have balance. Give us an example of a balance statement because we talk about that.
Yeah.
The whole show all by itself. Of an element. that
Bridge
we teach.
statement.
Bridge statement. Thank you.
Yes.
Bridge statements. With the bridge statements to bring a balance. Actually,
Exactly.
Give us an
Exactly.
example.
One of the ones in a situation like this is to say, sweetheart, I'm angry.
Mm-hmm.
You're angry. We're not going to get anything settled right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a break and come back and discuss this.
Yes, over a cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger. How about a veggie burger?
Okay, yeah, that's probably better. But you notice your bridge statement was all about connecting with me and then connecting with you. And then with that connection, you built a bridge.
Yes.
And with that bridge, you gave at the end,
I know.
an idea that we both can walk to and meet in the what? The middle. And under that bridge is the troubling water that's
Yes.
going on in the first place that causes us to be on both on opposite from each other.
Right.
And that's why we use that statement as bridge statement, or we use this technique called bridge statement in this particular case called navigating our conflicts. Because many times we have to understand our conflicts are not really us. Our conflicts are within themselves, bad, low, negative energy of themselves. For example, it could have been from mom, it could be from dad, it could be from the job. So it's not really you. It's just a conflict. It's that turbulent, troubled water that's cut itself in between you and your mate. A bridge is bridging that over there so that you both connect. Many times in many of our arguments, we think it's really about us, or it's really about that other person. And therefore, we won't even want to listen to one another, and let alone come up with bridge statement. And many times when you really think about it and you calm down, it really wasn't about you two in the first place.
Right. Not long ago, earlier this year, we had an argument that I was not going to listen to any reason with. And then, we took a break. And during that break, I realized what you were talking about made perfect sense, and I was okay with that. What was really going on was the fact that I was really worried and concerned about one of us and what she was doing. And it was not a good thing. And sometimes you walk away from work and you think you've left everything at work. But it's still good. I remember when my son was an infant, I was planning on working in a lab in a hospital. And then I got concerned that I could inadvertently bring some pathogen home. Maybe I washed my hands, but maybe I
Pathogens, some kind of journal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For those.
You did know because you just explained it. Maybe touch my lab coat or something, and then transfer. And so it worried me to the point that I decided I was never going to go back into a lab again.
Oh, wow.
Because he was at an age that he could not tell me early on or describe to me what his symptoms were. And I said, I'm not going to put him in that situation where he could be ill unnecessarily or even possibly die. That's a new mother that was taking it probably to the extreme. But I had never been been in the lab since then. And that is taking your job home with you. You know, not real, and that's the same type of thing. This young student of mine had left a pathogen, so to speak, on me, in the sense that I was so concerned about her and worried about her, and did not release it completely and put it in its perspective. Then I started jumping, taking that out on you and not listening to you. And finally I said, you know what, this was not about us, and it was not about you, and I'm sorry. And this is what's really bothering me. And it made a difference then.
Yeah. During those times, take a vacation.
Yes.
Part of maintenance is getting out of the environment that you're in, moving away from that job that you're in. I don't mean necessarily what sometimes I think. But we're talking about taking a break and don't bring it home. Exactly. Not bringing that stuff home. You two may want to go to a motel, hotel, Holiday Inn on the weekend. Just to be cool. They don't have to be out of town. They can be just right down the street, just to get away from your environment, because your environment many times could be toxic just because of how you look, the energy that's within it. Or you just need a break to see something else.
On your way home from work, stop by a gym. Park at a hotel park, put on your gym shoes, take a run, take a walk, whatever. Call your partner and say, hey, look, I'm going so and so after work. Meet me there. And you just, and when you're there, don't talk about your day. Talk about the two of you. Talk about the future plans. Talk about things that will lighten the mood and put you in a different place.
If you do one of the things that we do many times, we go to this beautiful park that's not too far from us. It has a nice river or pond in between it. We're at the short one of these times. And the environment of nature has a way of drawing you towards it, where those concerns and cares that you have inside that are probably pretty stressful, it's a good way to just de-stress.
It is.
We just enjoy the walk. We get so lost in the nature. We get so lost in what we see. It puts, how can I say it? It has you be able to separate the forest from the tree. Put things in perspective, does it not?
It does. And real quickly, I want to use that to segue into the A,
Mm-hmm.
the next A,
Okay.
which is appreciating each other. When you navigate conflicts constructively, you'll find a way to appreciate each other a lot more. And you do that by expressing gratitude, appreciation for your efforts. It's like, sweetheart, thank you for listening to it today. And for right now, I appreciate your apology for not giving me the attention today, early. And I appreciate that. It lets me know that I do matter and I did matter. But something else was going on with you at that time that I do realize that was. So you appreciate each other by stating it and showing that gratitude and showing that you understand that your partner is a person too. And that nobody is perfect, including you.
Exactly.
And so, it's always good to state others' qualities and the contributions that they make to the relationship, and just show your appreciations to the effort they make in building up and sustaining the
relationship. Challenge today till you hear from us next week. Say something appreciative about your mate.
Every day, at least once.
Exactly. Look for it. Focus on it. It could be how they look. Their eyes could be beautiful. Their mouth could be beautiful. The way they have presented their hair. It could be a body form. It could be the way they talk to you, the tone of their voice. It could be the energy that they send to display in front of you. It could be them doing something special with food. There are many and plenty of things we want you to focus on.
The fact that they didn't feel well, but they went to work anyway because they knew that you needed the sustenance.
And we don't want you to focus on it only. We want you to speak to them and make it a form of appreciation. We know a lot of us are looking at our mates' relationship or seeing something beautiful about them, but we ain't saying nothing. We're keeping it to ourselves. We're not saying anything.
Well,
When
don't
we
you
need
know?
to say
It
something,
doesn't matter if you know that's how you feel. Make sure you tell them anyway.
yes, that when you speak that word, it becomes a manifestation of the reality of your life. It doesn't become something they don't know nothing about. Many times our mates can't read our minds. They may not have no time for that. So speaking it to them clearly, then they will. Let's make that appreciation for each other very important. Try to do that expression every day in your relationship between people. What you think, Jason?
Absolutely. Rise to the occasion.
Rise to the occasion. Do you think we got a chance to get to the other two? We got N, C, and E, and then we're done.
Yeah, we'll do that next week.
Do next week.
Yes, we'll finish up next week.
Okay, so what are you going to say to finish it up today?
Make sure you continue to take this journey together. Until next week.
God bless. And not share this game. Oh no, this guy.
Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. I 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 like that. 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 I like that.